Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody had a very nice weekend. Finally, the snow is starting to melt. The weather is warming up a little bit, which has been really nice. It's been a little rainy and wet, but not too bad. Spring is all about cleaning things up, spring cleaning, right? So we're seeing how many people threw garbage away just before the blizzard dumped snow all over everything, because as it melts, it's revealing everything underneath the snow. Miss Schoen's class has been up to some cool stuff, making puzzles, it looks like. Mrs. Schoen just brought me what looks like a puzzle. See if we can figure it out. Oh, ho, ho, ho. 2. So thank you, Mrs. Schoen, for that sample puzzle. I've mentioned this in the Google Meet a few times, but Mr. Polino presented me with a problem. He's got to break in a baseball glove, and instead of repeatedly throwing the baseball into the glove, I want to know if there's a way we could attach something to the baseball to help break in the glove. So, what do I always tell you? Design process. First, we're going to establish the problem, which we have. We want to not throw the baseball. We want something attached to the baseball. So then we'll do some research. What's already been created? There's been a few solutions out there already, mallets and pieces of wood into the baseball, variety of different designs. So check those out. Started brainstorming some ideas. I didn't like those. We can do better. So sketch it out. Measure the baseball. Baseball's 3 inches in diameter. So draw that out on a piece of paper and get a good length. Started with a 12-inch piece on a piece of paper. So after I got that design, started putting a little prototype together. Just to get an idea of how it would feel, tried a couple ideas, taping the wood to the baseball, taping it to the top of the stick. Doesn't work. You can see where the leverage would be. When you hit the glove, it would be leveraging back. You really have to secure it in there, drill a big hole in the baseball. So when it was secured to the front of the stick, it had a nice feel, almost felt like a hammer. So that'd be the way to go, but you don't want lateral, we don't want it to wobble left or right, So we'll try to cut a little cove out of the wood for it to sit into, almost like a little pocket, like your hand, where the ball would sit. But still, it might wobble left and right, so we'll have to have some kind of support to keep it from moving left and right. For the side-to-side support, it's going to be a piece that kind of crosses over the main spine of the piece. Okay, I want to explain the joinery on this. This is called a cross lap joint. So this is a lap joint, right? You take a piece of wood, you notch out this little area here, and the other piece laps over it like this. That's how you can get a corner. Well, if this is in the middle of the board, you have a cross lap where they will fit together like that. And it almost looks like from the side that they just grew out of each other. So what's important with the lap joint, this lap joint and the cross lap joint, is that this distance here is the same as this distance here. So the gap is the same size as the wood it's overlapping, and vice versa. This gap has to be as thick as this. So usually you do half and half. So in this case it was 3/4 of an inch, 3/8, 3/8. And then when they overlap each other, they line up. Now if you're off a little bit, like I am, tiny bit, you'll get that little bit of extra, which is why we do precision cuts. But that is a cross lap joint. So we're going to talk more soon about different wood joinery in an upcoming lesson, but here's a great example of how we can cut something that will then just snap together. And this is gonna go on the CNC machine as well. So then I looked at this prototype, kind of put it together, and it felt really good, but I could already tell that the sides of that support piece needed to be trimmed down a little bit, and the length was a little too short to get good leverage in the swing. So I gave that prototype to Mr. Polino to try out. He came back with feedback that I expected, that the sides were a little too big, and sometimes it might hit the glove, and also a little bit more length would help. But also that the arc needed to be bigger. So we'll get into that next time. That's enough documenting for today's process. We established the problem, we researched, we brainstormed, we planned, we made a little prototype, and we tested that prototype out. Now we're gonna go through that redesign phase on the one that's on the CNC machine. And I'm gonna tell you about that next time. So as you saw in the little intro today, every time we change the bit on the CNC machine, we have to re-zero the tool, as it's called, which is telling the machine where the top of the wood is, so we know how deep to cut in. Whenever we're doing any of the 3 cuts that we make on the CNC machine, it needs to know how deep into the wood to go. It's especially important though when we're doing profile cuts, because we don't want to cut too deep into the table below when we're cutting our pieces out. So today, while we're in the Google Meet, we're still cutting out our key holder designs. We've already cut out quite a few already. They're looking great, so we're gonna keep working through all the submitted designs that everybody has turned in. But also, you will see a how it's made profile cut assignment. There's a video there with some questions that I made about how this whole process works. So that's gonna be today's assignment. So I will see everybody in the Google Meet. Remember, Morristown cares about you. I care about you. Be excellent to each other.